Go, what's good YouTube? It's your boy Jayoffact, man. Today's video I got y'all another reaction video. Do me a favor and like, comment, subscribe, and yeah man, let's get straight into this reaction. Alright man, so as y'all can see from the title of the video, today we're gonna be reacting to this deleted version of Tommy Egan was crazy. Now y'all know I love power, so let's get straight into this bitch. For my smokers, get y'all wood. For my non-smokers,
right,
get y'all something to eat.
It's not Maria's fault, it's yours. You have your opportunity to make this right. All you have to do is tell me where you hid my
Hey, this scene was crazy. This is the first episode too.
He's not listening to me, Maria. Yeah, you talk to him.
I rewatched Power so many fucking times,
so what
bro.
if Ghost never killed Roland?
I didn't rewatch, turn that shit on, because it's been a minute.
Book 2 Ghost? Or what if Dre survived? We've gone through a lot of what if storylines before, but deleted scripts, deleted scenes that were actually a part of Power, but were taken out, altered, or scripts that were changed. Now that's something we've never done before. I've spent a lot of time doing research for this one, and I do think this is going to be a different kind of eye-opener to Power.
I cannot wait
and the Power universe
until
as a
the
whole,
new Power starts
especially
dropping,
because of the
bro.
way they wrote Tommy Egan's
the new
character.
spin-offs they finna drop.
Planned for his and Ghost partnership. It would have looked very different had they gone with what they originally planned. And some of it, I do have to warn, is very, very dark and gruesome. Even though you're probably questioning, how can Tommy be even more crazy after some of the things we saw him do on Power? But trust me, stick with this video right through to the very end.
Merge Tommy was supposed to be more insane than he already was.
For Power Season 1, Episode 1, which you guys can find on an open source on TV Calling Script Library, which I will link down below in the description section. So we're going to be running through what they'd originally written for Tommy Egan and what they changed. There's also a very
How do he know this? How do he know what they originally had?
A few more right at the very end in a quickfire chapter just to round things off.
This nigga plugged in with 50 Cent himself.
Tommy Egan, who was actually supposed to be named Eddie O'Neill.
Eddie O'Neill. I was supposed to be Tommy name. I like Tommy Egan.
Eddie O'Neill at the time.
I like Tommy Egan better.
Yeah. Eddie O'Neill. Yeah.
I like Tommy Egan way better, bro.
Yeah, Tommy. They did it better. Yeah, Tommy Egan is of course how
Tommy Egan is a fire acting.
Now this is something that's been out in the open for a pretty long time. Tommy Egan's character was actually supposed to be Eddie O'Neill. Joseph Sikora actually spoke about it when he was on the Crew Has It podcast. In the original script for episode 1, they had him as Eddie O'Neill, and Courtney Kemp also did speak about this when she did her Instagram live back in 2020.
Tommy Egan fit way better than Eddie O'Neill. That shit is
sure.
ass.
My original idea of Tommy, he was a little more.
This the girl who came up with Tommy Egan?
Less independent of Ghost. He was a much more under Ghost than Joe came in with a lot more swag, I think, than I had intended the character to have.
Yeah, definitely.
And Joe's way was the right way. So the idea is to always try to listen and collaborate, even if it's not exactly as you said it.
Now first things first,
fuck with Shorty for that.
I don't think anybody can ever imagine
she not
this character
selfish.
being named Eddie
She
O'Neill.
hearing other people out like, okay, we could expand this character. See, people like that is the people that you need writing shows. People with an open ear, an open mind.
I don't think anybody can ever imagine this character being Eddie O'Neill. Tommy Egan just suits Joseph Sikora down to the T because of the way he portrays arguably one of the favorite characters in the Power universe of all time. I think with the addition in recent years with the likes of Marvin and Rock, some people would probably have them as their favorite, and they've definitely climbed the ladder over the past few seasons for obvious reasons. We only have to look at the stellar job they've done with raising Kanan. But I don't think anybody can ever imagine this character being named anything other than Tommy Egan.
Nah, for real.
Now what I would say is the surname
Eddie O'Neill
is definitely an Irish surname. We've seen the 4-clover tattoo, which also in Irish tradition symbolizes good luck. Walter Flynn also made reference that he could see County Cork in Tommy Egan. We also know there's some Irish-Italian heritage, and that's something they kept the same. But I do wonder if they would have expanded on that a little more with this Irish heritage, had they kept him as Eddie O'Neill. Maybe a chance to go overseas, or bring in the Irish mob, not like the Four Horsemen or the Flynns. I'm talking about the real Irish mafia that dates back to the early 1900s. Without going into too much of a history lesson, there was a real Irish-Italian mob war back in the 1970s.
I forgot Tommy is part Italian too, boy, this nigga.
Or maybe even in the next present-day spin-off, either in Legacy or another. I mean, I really wouldn't mind a real kind of different vibe to a different kind of spin-off. But let's wait and see what they've got planned.
Joe Sikora did not play the character Eddie. It was Eddie, not before he was Tommy. He didn't do Tommy the way I had Tommy in my head. That wasn't what I had thought Tommy was going to be. But when he came in and his take on it was so fresh and interesting and exciting, it got everyone really excited about it. It was different. It was not what I had intended, but
Tommy
it was
character
great,
is, like,
and so that's really
legendary.
what I like.
Horny Kev also mentioned Joseph Sikora didn't
Tommy
play the
character was so
Eddie.
legendary
It was
they
Eddie
had to
before
give
he
his
was
ass his
Tommy.
own show. It
The
was
fact
only
that
right
Joseph
Tommy
Sikora
get his
came into
own
the
show,
audition
spin-off show, how
probably
good
not
he
right
did
out
in
the
Power,
block, because
original
he was
Power.
different, in a good way. They basically changed the original idea they had for Eddie O'Neill.
He was a much more under Ghost than Joe came in with a lot more swag, I think, than I had intended the character to have. And Joe's way was the right way.
Originally, his and Ghost's relationship was supposed to be very different. They weren't actually supposed to be partners like we saw in season 1, but where Tommy, or Eddie O'Neill, was supposed to be kind of under Ghost. But the fact that Joseph Sikora had that spark in his audition, because of the way he came in, the way he probably collaborated with Amari Hardwick when they did their thing, they probably thought, no way can this guy be working under Ghost. He's just got way too much swag. He's got way too much charisma, charm. He's got that hunger. He's a gangster.
Real.
He's ambitious, with a very strong personality.
That is
with a
real.
strong personality, that's definitely
Tommy
not a character you
character
have
did not
under
deserve
Ghost.
to get
The way
put
they
in
had it
no
with their brother,
little boy
their
position,
partnership,
like no
their chemistry
corner
on
boy
screen being
position or some
partners.
shit.
But Ghost still kind of making decisions without Tommy, making moves behind his back, which, when you kind of think about it, did have elements of Ghost having Tommy underneath him, but definitely with them being more partners than brothers pretty much throughout the entirety of Power, even though they were definitely at odds at different stages of Power. For characters like Tariq, Braden, and even Kane, you can imagine them working underneath someone like Mecca or Monet or a Noma because they're still young. They wouldn't have built what Ghost and Tommy have built. They wouldn't have the same respect or be feared until they earn it. But that's the name Eddie O'Neill and the original plan. Next up, the original script for Power Season 1, Episode 1.
Let's see if it's better
Power
than
Season
the
1,
original.
Episode 1.
Well,
At the
let's see if
beginning,
it's better
there's
than
not
the
much
one they
difference in terms of the
published.
introduction to the world of Power. You've still got the same Ghost coming to Club Truth. You've got the description of the character, detailed right down to the T. What we saw in Power is exactly how they described James Ghost St. Patrick.
Tell me I'm beautiful.
You know you are.
Now, just before I get to Tommy Egan, there was also a very small slight change. Ghost actually found out in episode 1 someone was selling coke in his club, and asked his bouncers to find out who it was and kick him out. He mentioned nobody sells that shit in his club, which is something I think they pushed on a bit later on in season 1 with a dealer who was selling bad coke in Club Truth. You've also got the interaction with Cantos.
For my VIPs? Come on. Fuck your VIPs. We gonna redefine the word.
However, this
Boy,
is
I
where we
love
get
this
to
show,
the real
gang.
juicy bits. Enter
This the only
Eddie
show
O'Neill.
I ever watched.
As we
I don't
know
watch
him,
nothing
Tommy
else.
Egan.
Like
Now, we know Tommy Egan is
y'all be watching
crazy
that
at
Love
dude.
Island shit.
He's
If you a
character
nigga and you
who
watch
definitely
Love
has a big
Island,
heart. He's someone who loves
turn
family.
off my
He's
video
someone
game.
who you'd probably
You
say
go
is
ahead,
quite
turn
big
it
on
off
love.
right now.
And definitely to those who are
only
loyal to him.
thoroughbreds in
He
this
definitely
bitch,
has
not
a
no
very
soft
big
ass
heart, and
nigga.
we've seen it in so many different ways. But he's also definitely
Now I'm
crazy.
playing for. If y'all
especially
watch
when you
Love
betray
Island,
him.
I don't
And that's
judge,
what originally
man.
happened back in season 1.
But you
episode
might
1.
be a little soft though.
Now, we
I
did
would
kind of
tell
see
you, you
Tommy
might be a
kind
little
of
soft if
torment
you
Maria
watch that.
Garcia back in episode 1. He used her as Miguel's thumbscrew to
Yeah,
kind
keeping
of
her
get
laugh.
However, in the original
Was
script,
crazy.
Tommy went even further. He whispered in Miguel's ear, "Don't worry, Miguel. I'm gonna give her the night of her life, and you're not gonna miss a second." Now, what happens next? I think you guys get the picture. Tommy didn't go the full way, but the way he torments Miguel Garcia, what he does with the barrel of his gun just before Ghost walks in, putting it where he put it, honestly, it is a bit too much, and I can understand why they changed it. Seeing this on screen, I personally think it would have been way too much, and that's something that would have stuck with his character throughout this entire series of Power. I don't think we as the
Definitely.
audience would have ever been
I
able
ain't
to see
finna
Tommy
say that
Egan
shit
the
because
same way ever
I'm
again.
not finna say that
Essay
shit word
is
on
something
YouTube.
that this Power
But if
audience
y'all
would
just
have
seen when
never
he said he
forgot.
was gonna
From
put
what
the
I've seen in
tool
TV,
at
I don't think I've
and
ever seen
blow
anything
it,
to that extent.
y'all
If
go
you
back
ask me,
and read
Tommy
what
would have
that
gone
shit just
way
said,
too
the
far.
script.
Ghost even tells him in the original script something almost identical to what we heard in episode 1.
Tommy, think. This girl has brothers, cousins, someone who gives a fuck about her. You fuck with her, they come running looking for her. People we deal with are worse people we don't.
But in this version, Ghost telling Tommy, stop thinking with your dick. So, I did warn you guys, this was going to be quite dark and gruesome. Even for someone like Tommy Egan's caliber, SA is something... I mean, it's something this character probably wouldn't have survived. Think about it, how can you repair someone's reputation when they go to this level of extent in torturing someone innocent, who only happened to have been the girlfriend of someone who did some bad shit? So, before we get to the bit about Tariq, I mean, tell me how you guys feel about it in the comment section. I think a lot of you will probably agree with my thoughts. That character, Eddie O'Neill, that was way too much. And it is something I don't think he
That
could have
is way
ever
more
recovered his
gruesome than what
reputation
happened,
from.
for
Because
sure.
if they originally went with that, there would have probably been even more to come throughout Power. Now, I'm not going to go through literally every single detail and conversation, otherwise we'll be here for the length of an entire Power episode, probably more because of how in-depth I like to take it. And to be honest with you guys, a lot of it is the same anyway, but there is another thing that they did change, and that's with Tariq St. Patrick and the change of his character.
He was small as shit.
Now this is also another very well documented change from the early seasons of Power. Tasha was actually supposed to be 5 years older than she was, which would have meant that Tariq was a little older as well. Both Notori Norton and Corny Kemp have spoken about this little change before, in various interviews and Instagram lives. And in the original script for Season 1, Episode 1, Ghost's son Tariq was actually supposed to be 15, instead of this young kid we originally saw. He was someone who was already quite distant and very different to his sister Raina, basically the complete opposite. And had they gone with this version of Notori Norton who was 5 years older, or if they casted someone else who was a little older, this would have definitely changed Tariq's story arc from the jump. Instead of him causing mischief and mayhem in Season 3, it probably would have happened a lot sooner. So, Tariq was actually supposed to be 15 in Season 1 of Power.
That would have been crazy
if they did go down that route, he'd be a lot older in Power Book 2 Ghost, if that would have happened.
It would have had more moments of him and Ghost, like,
you guys remember he had his 18th birthday
going at it and shit, because you know Ghost ain't want that nigga living that life.
Power, in a spin-off, he would have been a little older, and that would have actually meant probably not in school at Stansfield. The Power world would have looked very different. Now there are also a lot more storylines they did change and alter because that's how TV is sometimes. Things can change on the drop of a dime because of things like scheduling, unforeseen circumstances like C20, or in more recent times the writer's strike. But just as a quick fire round, these are some more. Tasha's loan from Simon Sen was originally supposed to be a lot bigger than it was. It has also been confirmed a number of times that Brayden did meet Tommy Egan back in Power, but that scene actually never made the final cut. Felipe Lobos was supposed to die sooner than he did, and maybe if he did, that may have even prolonged Milan's story arc. And the one that we've all had countless of times before, and the one which I really wish they could have carried through, was Jukebox killing Raina St. Patrick. I just think she would have caused so much chaos for Ghost and Tommy back in New York, and having Juke around for a little longer, where we would have seen Tommy coming face to face with her, where she may have even come face to face with Tasha. I think Season 5 could have genuinely been one of the best
They could have did so much more shit with Jukebox character
and mayhem. But I'm sure there's a lot more that I haven't spoken about, and some of you guys probably know a few more that I don't. So definitely let me know in the comment
she had
section.
potential,
and let me know if you want me to
go
into
hella
any
potential.
more
I ain't gonna lie.
But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Jukebox had so much potential. But yeah, man.
You're right there, Miguel. It's not Maria's fault.
Do me a favor and like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, man, I'm out this bitch.